The trail is a metaphor for change. Although hiking, and specifically endurance hiking, is now a big part of my day-to-day, it's not just about exercise. It's about transformation. Each step is a movement towards clarity, purpose, and identity. But movement is one thing, sharing insights gained is another. As a U.S. Marine veteran, I created this space to help other veterans gain clarity, purpose, and identity. Let's walk this path together. This is Trail to Transformation.
Are you tired of feeling run down and exhausted? In our fast-paced world, we're often surrounded by toxins that impact our well-being. I provide holistic solutions designed to detoxify your body and environment. With cutting-edge AO voice scan technology, we identify the root causes of your discomfort or dis-ease, making personalized healing easier than ever. Start your transformative journey towards a healthier, toxin-free life, because at White Sands Self-Care, your well-being is our priority.
Most people aren't broken. They're just dysregulated. Chronic stress, pain, anxiety, and burnout aren't mindset failures. They're nervous systems stuck in survival. I'm Leland Holgate, combat veteran and neuroscientist, and I created the Welcome Home method to help people rewire their nervous systems with breath. To go deeper, visit thewillfulwarrior.com.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Of course, you know me. My name is Dr. Keith McNally. I'm here with Laura Cross, and she was actually the first promo ad that you saw, so we need to kind of take a look at that. But before we get into the conversation, Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Keith. Pleasure being here.
So you are a veteran. I want to give people some, before I forget, some background information because I tend to do that. I like to jump right into the conversation. So kind of give us a real quick summary, not a bio, but
Not a fire hose.
but a
Yeah.
quick summary of who you are. And I'm really thank you for your service because you are a veteran.
Oh, thank you for your service as well. Yeah, so I am an Air Force veteran. I'm also the founder of White Sands Premier Travel and White Sands Self-Care, and the host for Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross TV show. So, yeah, everything I do is all about building judgment-free, holistic communities that provide education, resources, connection, and collaborations. Because I want to make sure people feel heard and seen and know that they're not judged and that there's someone out there that can resonate with them. So that's pretty much the world I live in.
I love it. And just for my audience sake, you have one more hat that you fill, and that is you
Oh,
produce my
the
show.
producer
Yeah,
and the producer of Trail Transformation, yes.
absolutely, and I'm so grateful for that because without you, as of this moment, this wouldn't even be happening. So I have to thank you over and over again. Um,
My pleasure.
to kind of get into the conversation, and we're just gonna, I guess we just have to jump in there. Your husband passed many, many years ago, and so we really need to kind of dive into that because I know people, I've had conversations with people in my previous podcast, so everything that has led up to Trail to Transformation and Trail to Transformation TV, where spouses or loved ones have passed, have died, and when that happens, it totally changes their life entirely. So, can we start the conversation with that point?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that is why I do what I do. I would not be on this path either had I not lost my husband. I would still be working one job or another, busting my butt trying to make ends meet, and doing what thought I was supposed to be doing, but but not really truly be happy. So that's kind of what launched my whole my whole trajectory now.
Yeah, and that happens a lot of times. So, how much detail are you willing to give our audience?
I can give you all the detail you like.
We'll go for it.
Okay. All right. So, my husband, we were both Air Force, and tomorrow will be 21 years and 3 months since he passed. He died December 21st of 2004. I had just turned 37 and he was 36. So we were laughing at lunch, and he was dead by 10 o'clock that night. As far as we knew, perfectly healthy. He had a year and a half to go before he would have retired from the Air Force. And due to oversights from the doctors that he was seeing, things were got ignored, I think, and overlooked. They did the wrong tests, and it cost him his life.
So let's take a look at that in more detail. So talk to me about, there must have been some kind of sign. And I say that because I had a heart attack in 2022, right?
Hmm.
October. I always thought for my own self that my exercise routine, my eating habits, I may have, not been the best in terms of what I chose to eat because my exercise routine was about being big and strong, right? I wanted to have that persona of, I'm Hercules in a 5'5" frame. So what I was doing looked good on the outside, but was killing everything on the inside. And, kidneys were failing and thus eventually the heart attack. But there were no preliminary signs that anything was really wrong. It was just like, bam, at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning, I'm in tears. So what was the situation at home?
Yeah, so I've learned that there was actually a lot of signs, but like a lot of people, we keep chalking them up to, oh, well, this happened, or it's this, or oh, I'm older, or oh, I'm not doing this anymore, and we have like excuses for them. He was active duty, and military, we have always, we've got the physical therapy, not physical therapy, the physical fitness, the PT and stuff that you're going through. You're doing the running, you're doing this. And since he was ground radio, sometimes, he'd have to kind of like go in as close to probably as combat areas as Air Force is going to come. But, and so, he, we, from what I know now, yeah, we most definitely did not eat the healthiest, and of course, drinking alcohol is never healthy. But so he had started to gain a little bit of weight, which he was concerned about. So one of the things he had done is he loved Mountain Dew, and he switched to Diet Mountain Dew, which had a ton of aspartame in it, which I didn't know about until later. But the crystal, I mean, almost everything he was doing to try and be healthy had some really bad stuff in it. Number one, aspartame. We had helped a friend move up in Denver. We lived in Colorado at the time, and he had slipped and fell and hurt his back a little bit, but then he had back pain, so we kept contributing to, oh, he was still sore from when he fell. But the different pains, the weight gain, they put him on cholesterol medicine, which wasn't good. They put him on a number of things, different things like that for cholesterol and stuff. None of that was ever actually really good. But what happened was had gotten deployed over at Iraq, and when he came back, just sitting in the chair watching cartoons, because yes, he loved The Simpsons and all of those, his heart would just start racing, and I'm going to tell you right now, he did not tell me. He did not share this with me at all.
He
So
didn't share that his heart was
no,
feeling bad. Okay.
no, he kept it from me.
Okay.
He absolutely kept that from me. Active duty, Air Force active duty has to go to flight surgeons. He went to the flight surgeon, made an appointment while he was at work, so I knew nothing about it because I had already separated from the military, so I wasn't in. And we were working. I worked night shifts. He worked days because that was the best way for us to pull in money to make ends meet. So we were already like working opposite shifts, and so she all she did was a blood pressure and an EKG test on him.
And
Sent
she
him
would
back.
be the
The
nurse,
flight
the doctor,
surgeon.
the
She
flight
was no,
surgeon.
she was a full bird colonel.
Okay. Okay.
She was a full bird
Um,
colonel.
so wouldn't there be like blood tests or things that you should do? And I say that because when I went in and this is being a man, I don't,
Hmm.
I had the heart attack at 3 o'clock in the morning. I actually waited 2 hours until all the pain subsided and went back to bed. Um, so no, this is a no judgment zone
No.
for other side of the conversation. Um, when I woke up later that Sunday, the I didn't feel quite right, but it was at this time my routine to get up and walk 6 miles, and this is before I had Ashley and before a lot of other things. So it was kind of a balance between weight pressing weights and doing some cardio. I did 5 miles, and man, it wasn't feeling good at all. it, it was hard to breathe. But it wasn't like that massive pain that I had at 3 o'clock in the morning. Um, you know, got home, ate, laid down in the bed again, and it just wasn't going away. And so eventually, got myself to the hospital. They did a series of tests and asking me, "Did you really have a heart attack? We're kind of going through this. We just don't believe you." They had to do a series of tests before eventually they found whatever indicators said that, yeah, oh yeah, okay, yeah, well, we need to get you to the hospital. They had to get me to a cardiac hospital. So, what was in your mind? Again, not pointing fingers, pointing blame, but what probably were the strategies here for your husband?
Well, I will tell you, I do blame her, but that's me. That's all she did. Those were the only tests she did. I got a copy of all of his medical records after he passed, and keep in mind this was in 2004. In '98, his blood work showed he was at risk for a heart attack or heart disease. So where the heck were they back in '98? Because no one said nothing to it, no one highlighted it. And you mentioned being out of breath, and that is one of the things that he was. He started getting like out of breath easily. It had nothing to do with being in Colorado on the high altitude. We've been there for many years. We're well adapted, to that. So it
So
had
that
nothing.
was like kind of a precursor to.
That was another precursor to it, and we thought it was just because he had put on some weight. He had put on a little more weight than he was heavier than what he'd ever been, even though he was still doing this other stuff. But he would get tired. He would get out of breath. But
Well,
no, she's.
before you go on, I just want to say that was actually one of those yellow or red flags that I learned afterwards because I would go to bed at night and have to use my inhaler just to breathe, and I'm laying in bed. It wasn't exercising, so not that we were trying to diagnose anything here,
No.
but just for the audience's sake, that may be if you're having difficulty breathing in weird times of the day that you typically wouldn't, that is an indicator that maybe you should get something looked at. So I'm sorry to interrupt,
No, no,
but
you're fine. And like you said, we're not here to diagnose by any means, but not here to try and make somebody a hypochondriac either. It's things happen. You're going to be. I mean, you're going to go to Colorado. You're going to be out of breath until you adapt to high altitude. So that's just part of it. Um, but no. So I mean, she had done the test, and apparently he had another episode where he felt his heart racing, and so he went to her a second time. Now, this is when he had to tell me because he came home with paddles stuck on him
okay.
and a
There's
little
no.
monitor. And she told him, do everything you can and get your heart to race again when it does hit this button so it'll record.
Hmm.
And guess what? It didn't happen. The 24 hours he was wearing this, it didn't happen. So she told him it was just post traumatic stress from being shot at in Iraq. Now, I do know my husband well enough to know he would have told her his family history. His father died at the age of 40. He had three grandfathers, three uncles that died in their 40s, all aortic arch dissection slash heart attack. What I learned afterwards was, for one, that is 80% men and 20% or 20% genetic. Anyway, it's or vice versa, but it was a high probability.
Okay.
What I found out years later from his younger brother, who I was able to save by knowing what tests should have been done, because I will tell you his brother was 36 years old, and they caught the fact that his aortic valve was too big. They were able to go in, graph his aortic valve, and tell him that there was no reason he wouldn't live many happy years and never have to worry about his heart again. And he is still alive and well today. He has survivor guilt he deals with, but knowing what tests, because a CAT scan and an MRI, a CAT scan and a chest X-ray are at the minimum of what they should have done, but they did not do that.
So earlier in the show, we talked about these life-changing events. This changed everything about your meaning, purpose, and identity. So post your husband's passing, um, what did you do? What was the change? What was the things that you had to think about? What was what was the trajectory from that point forward?
Took me a lot of years to figure that out. To be honest, that took me a lot of years. You get your 7 days bereavement. That didn't cut it for me. I was already working night shift, which doctors will tell you that's already not natural and good for your body to work nights and sleep during the day. And I didn't mind. I never minded people asking me what happened, and I would tell them. But the night shift, there's hardly anybody there. It's quiet, and then I'm almost falling asleep because I'm just exhausted. And I did fall asleep while I was driving home and went over the line, but I woke up before I hit somebody. You know, twice,
Wow. Wow.
twice in the same trip going home. And then that's when they told me that I could have short-term disability, and I went out on short-term disability. Because to me, my whole life just got shattered.
Right, right. And
None of
and
that, and I didn't expect any of that. And so it was an adjustment. I did suddenly have a lot more patience and a different perspective for like elderly people and different things. It gave you a whole new look on things. So at least for me, and that's always kind of stuck with me. But as far as what I was going to do, that kind of progressed. But when I did learn, when the military paid out the rest of the widows the way they should have, and I realized I didn't really have to work at that time, that's when I went into travel because I loved travel. And so that's kind of where I had started with that. And it was just kind of a gradual progression, when COVID came along and scared the snot out of everybody, I realized the reason I wanted people to travel was to take better care of themselves. And then that's where White Sands Self-Care was born. And that's where I learned about everything holistic that we could do. I learned even more of stuff that we could have done differently, but of course you can't. That's done. So yeah, it just
well,
kind of was a lot of years. It was a lot of years in there.
well, I asked that because one of the other guests I had on the show, Michelle Ann Collins, she was able to share a traumatic event in her life, and her husband died by suicide. Now, still death, still trauma, but that was the turning point that she used. And again, even 10 years later, you know, she still has to manage things. But you took this time in your life and then through COVID to start helping people. And so I want you to share what that means to you and how you do help people.
That has always been me. That's always been my nature. I just always went about it the wrong way. I did try to do it after my husband died, but that's because I didn't want to lose anybody else. I will tell you, running up and telling someone that they need to stop smoking and what they need to do is not the way, not the way to fix people. You will drive people away. So, you know, through everything and stuff that I've learned, it's just been a kind of a slow. It wasn't like a switch. Some people might have that switch. For me, it was not a switch. It was a slow progression, and I still hung on for a long time to a lot of anger and stuff. And it wasn't until working with a business coach, and I'm not, still not going to say necessarily that it was good, but I would always tell them, I'm not going to tell anybody there was anything good about my husband dying. Had he not passed, though, I would not have been on this path. Things would not have happened the way they did. Um,
So
so
give us some insight. What did happen? What was the path? What was the trail that got you here? And you don't have to, fully disclose everything, but how did you get to be in front of me today?
I've always loved helping and people and connecting with people. And when I started learning about all the different holistic things, I really just started out by doing interviews, short interviews with people right through my own little Facebook group. Everybody kept calling it a podcast. I said, it's not a podcast, just an interview. I just thought when you can hear from a person, their story, their journey, how they got through it, how they can help others to do the same, you can connect and resonate with them more. You know, we are in a very high digital world now, and not everybody that may resonate or can help you is in your immediate space. Sometimes they may be in a whole nother country, another state, you don't know. And so I started to do in those, and people really enjoyed it. And then it got proposed to me to run a TV show. I would have never told anybody that I would have been up here, but people wanted it, and it really took off, and people enjoy it.
Now
So
that's Mindful Mondays, yes?
that's my Mindful Mondays, yeah, with Laura Cross. And
Okay.
so it was just kind of a progression, and I started building this whole other community. There was all these other people out here that are into the holistic space that just want to help others. It's not about their bottom line. It's how can we support each other? And I truly believe that we can do more together. And I think the more educated that we are, the more resources that we have, the better chance you have.
But your ad talked about something that you do specifically. This
Oh, AO
breath.
voice scan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What is it? I know I did it, but
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
I want
so
you to
that's
share that
that's
with
an
the audience.
incredible tool, and I can do that. I know we're going to be running out of time. I can do that for anyone over it's 10 seconds of your voice. Everything in this world is vibration, frequency, and energy. The space that I live in, that's my frequency and energy. But when you speak, thousands of vibrations are coming out. And this is taking Rife frequencies, Nikola Tesla's coil, all that technology together. It takes 10 seconds of your voice, and it's like a check engine light for your car. It will light up head to toe. It will tell me what foods are causing inflammation, dysfunction. I can tell you you've got high cholesterol, low cholesterol. Your body is screaming at you every day, telling you what's going on. And that is kind of like my husband, he was out of breath. He had this pain. He had that pain. We kept writing it off for this. We wrote it off for that. No, it was trying to tell us something. We just didn't know how to listen to it. And now I do. Now I have something that can help me identify a root cause and not wait until it's so bad that I have to wait for it to be so bad that it lights up on other tests. So,
And I took the test, and you graciously allowed me to take the test. And one of the things that I don't remember everything, and I do have the data to refer back to. Um, I eat a lot of peanut butter, and the test told me that. It says, "Dude," you said, "Dude, you can stop on the peanut butter." Basically, is what you said. But it also talked about things that are not necessarily physical to the body. It identified chakras. And at some point, I'm going to go in depth with what chakras are, but the test looks at purely vibrational energy. And so it's a
it's frequent.
holistic
It's
tool.
yeah, it's vibrations and it's frequencies. So it's chakras, meridians. It will tell you emotions and stuff that are stuck. So fear, anxiety, grief. If you have not dealt with a trauma, it is trapped in your body and it is causing you issues. And so if you have not dealt with it or you think you have and it's not and it's still in your subconscious, it will show up on that test.
And I think that's where the real key value is in this tool. Um, so that's about all the time we have today. I want you, Laura, to give the audience a golden nugget of if you're in a situation where you feel something isn't right with your body, do this. And then, of course, I want the audience to contact you, Laura, and and take that test. So give
Yeah,
everybody a golden nugget.
they're always welcome. They're always welcome to contact me. When you feel something is off and something is not right, take that time to just take a deep breath and go in and just kind of feel. Take notice of what just happened. Did you just were you just in an area that you didn't really like? Did something else happen? You can kind of start to put together a little bit of things of what is feeling off. Yes, you can always go to the doctors. I think doctors. I'm not saying doctors are bad. There's a whole Eastern Western things, but you just need to be able to listen to your body, know what's going on. Um, they're also welcome to come contact me. It's like I said, it's identifying the root cause, but yeah, you have to just pay attention. Don't keep writing it off as like, oh well, it's because I'm older, or oh, it's because I'm tired. I did that. There's reasons. There's reasons your body's trying to tell you. You just got to listen to it.
And I totally agree. And so, Laura, I want to thank you for being on the show. And for all of you, as always, I will see you on the trail. Imagine a world where every veteran finds a reason to keep going. That's the vision behind the Trail to Transformation Foundation. Help us make it real. Donate through the GoFundMe link, and as always, I'll see you on the trail.